Best Shot podcast, and welcome, Brett.
Nice to be here, man.
It's been a long time since I've seen you. How you been?
Doing good. You know, like everybody, they always say they're busy, right?
Well,
Does anybody ever tell you they don't have nothing to do and they're just sitting around waiting for someone to call them?
well, I'm glad you took my call and you were willing to come on. You know, I have known you for a while, and it's been good to see you. Now, one of the things that we were going to talk about is something that you and I always used to discuss, and it's the pussification of the American man.
You know,
Now, just tell me some of your thoughts about that.
well, and as you and I've talked about this, it just seems like this has been a long trend here where the American male doesn't really looked upon to be a man anymore, and that they're discouraged to be that. And I look at it as either a larger context as well. If you look at the way the country's going, the way we react to things, you know, from soccer where there's no winners and losers, or you know, that type of thing. Where
You mean like kids sports?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just started, and it's now more prevalent, and it's here to stay. So, you know, we're the dinosaurs on this one.
Well, even one of the iconic sports that I love dearly is American football,
Mm-hmm.
and they're actually making that less, and I can tell why. It's the concussions and
Yep.
you know the brain injuries that they have, and I'm certain that I've experienced that.
Mm.
I've been knocked out a couple of times on the football field, and you know,
Joe's boyfriends.
yeah, well, probably not. But the reality is that the society itself is just changed, where you can't really be what we thought of, like you know, John Wayne, or you know, any of those guys that we grew up with. You know, even like Sinatra, you know, was like the man. But they don't have that anymore. We're not allowed to be that under society. And there's some of us that are fighting it, because I still, you know, will call a spade and do what I have to do. But what about the younger kids and stuff? Because they're indoctrinated into this.
Well, like think
Right
about
now.
things that you grew up. You know, the rhyme. You know, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
Right.
Well, now names do hurt people, and they get you kicked out of office, and you can't do things. So the old adage of the idea that you should be responsible for yourself and how you feel about yourself, that's gone. It's okay for you to feel bad if someone doesn't like the way you look or the way you address them or whatever, and now you have to live with that, and that's the world we live in.
Well, do you have to live with it? I mean, seriously.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like this is something that's going to go away.
Well, you know, I have a part-time job at the airport, working
Mhm.
for an airline, and it's still the old school, tough and rough, but it's gotten softer there too.
Yeah.
You know, where you can call people names and get away with it, typically, if it's the right person you're calling the name to. But if it's not, and they go and tell somebody, you're kind of
Right.
screwed.
Right.
You know,
So,
and you don't know who's the right person or the wrong person anymore.
well, take that to email, right? You wouldn't dare put something in writing that you would say, right?
Even on like social media, I'll say it to your face as well,
Right.
as the same as I put it down.
If you write it down, you just got this feeling now someone's going to go twist it around on you and be like, "Oh, hey, look, this is something you said." So,
So are you? Have you been pussified? I
me,
mean, think
me,
about
no. You know, we talked about life changes, and you know, now that I'm divorced, I feel like there's parts of me that I've reestablished, kind of things in me that were there. That I'm stronger at who I am now on some of these things. But no, I don't fit the mold of what. That's why probably we're friends. You know, I don't fit that mold where you kowtow to something. I'm not stupid. I don't say things that shouldn't be, but once you and I think we can do what we want to do.
You know, the last time I saw you, I'm going to bring this up. We were at a bar,
Yeah.
and we had been drinking, and
At
we
a
met
bar?
up with these guys.
Really?
Yeah, well, we met up with these two guys, and then they decided that they were our buddies and decided to ask us to go to a different bar, which we did. And we went to this other bar, and other people came, and it started to get a little rowdy. And next thing I know, I'm in a pushing match, almost a fisticuffs with a guy, and you're sitting over in the corner talking to this gal. Where were you covered? You weren't covering my back. That's What's
what are
with
you getting
that?
in trouble for? There's women around, man.
It was a guy that didn't like me talking to his wife.
Ah,
I mean,
yeah.
and then I don't even
Good.
know what happened to you after that. You disappeared.
Honestly, I don't even remember the
Yeah.
night. Or you? No, I remember.
You don't
some
remember
of
that night?
No, I remember parts of it.
That was
fun.
crazy night. That was the last time I saw you,
Yeah.
and it was, you know,
But the big thing is, you just want to be able to have your moments where you get into something, but you don't go anywhere and you don't do anything stupid, and then you live to tell the tale and go on another day, right?
I agree, but that I'm trying to lead that into the pussification where, you know, when this guy was in my face and tried to push me. In today's society, you're supposed to take it or you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
Well, in the society that we grew up in, if somebody gets in your shit, you don't take it.
No.
And you make sure that they know that they're messing with the wrong person. But in today's world,
It doesn't work like that.
yeah,
no.
I mean,
Right.
they called the cops.
Sure.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, who calls the cops for two guys pushing each other?
No. And
People that are ultra sensitive and ultra worried about what other people are doing, I think. But, you know, what can you do?
you just want to stay off the radar enough if you can, because you go down that criminal path.
Well,
Even on a little bit. I'm not saying you got to like knock over.
criminal of
yeah.
path, is that considered pushing somebody a criminal path?
So in the examples I've seen is cops come in, they don't try to sort it out, they just grab everybody, and if you're involved, they grab you both.
Yeah, that's true. So, tell me about your life over the last 3 or 4 years. What's been happening with you, man?
I've had divorced now, and so that there's some some ups and downs with that. I mean, there's life changes and all that, and at the end of the day, you come out. I think most people come out better for that. It's a rocky road. My analogy on that is, it's like you put your life in a blender, and all sorts of parts of you that were kind of hidden up are now out there for the world to see. And,
Even the parts you don't want them to see?
Exactly.
And so, what parts of you did people see that you initially didn't want them to, as you went through this divorce?
Our particular marriage we were put out as those people as that perfect couple. We were the plastic-looking people that put on the good show and had the nice-looking parties, and everybody wanted to kind of, I think, be us in a way, but it was really just laminate on something, and it wasn't really what we were, and so we were struggling underneath it, and that puts that out there as that we really weren't that couple.
So the depth, that's what I always think, is people don't have depth. There's that outside show that they have to everybody, but the depth behind it is really what's important. So, what have you been doing since then, though? I mean, you've been traveling at all?
So, personally, I got away from who I was a little bit. Like I used to do a lot of exercise at turnarounds or triathlons and running type sports. Put on some weight. I took 25 pounds off. But I ballooned up and I took it back. So to me, I've always looked at it as it's okay to go up as long as you come back down.
Well, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I ballooned up a little bit, got a little chubby.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's easy.
Day.
There's lots of reasons to drink and go out and have a good time, and before you know it, you're like, wow, this is not who I am.
Exactly. So what was the motivation to lose weight?
When my fat pants didn't fit, like.
You got a pair of fat pants, and you're talking about pussification of America.
Yeah, I went regular pants, bigger man pants, and then those didn't even fit, and I had to I couldn't even button them, and they all didn't fit. So then I just kind of lost it.
Because when I met you, you were doing the triathlons and you were doing all that, and you were fit as a fiddle.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Complete control.
Yeah.
And I lost it. So.
For me, as I went through a similar process that you're going through, the exercise, the weightlifting that I was doing was an outlet to escape. Now, was your triathlon, do you ever look back at it and say, oh, I did all this stuff to, not necessarily for self, you did it just to get away?
That's a good question. Part of it was just to trying to push my own boundaries to kind of do things that, either other people weren't doing, or it seemed like things I could get into, and I wasn't sure if I could be good at it. And I tried to get good at it, and I, on a relative scale, I ended up being pretty fit and doing really well at it. But you're never going to win. That's not. It's like winning the lottery. You're not going to win, but So that once that kind of that luster came over of, so I did that. So then what? And no one was impressed. You didn't go, wow, Brett, you like really got it together. No, it's personal, and I looked at kind of outward. I was looking for stimulation or like positive reinforcement, and people were like, you look good, but they didn't understand what I was doing, and then so that dropped off.
For me, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be impressed with that.
Yeah,
it's just riding a bike and swimming, man. I mean, what do you run like 10 miles? I mean, not even.
I did half Ironman, man.
Wow. Why don't you do the full one? That would impress me.
That's exactly what I heard. Come on, 1.2 mile swim.
Come on.
56 bike, and then a half marathon. Come on, tell me you're going to do that.
I've done 13 marathons, and you can't tell by looking at me.
Yeah.
I've done 13, and I got to the point where it wasn't even fun anymore.
Yeah.
Became the thing.
Right. You weren't impressed with yourself anymore.
Yeah, it was like,
so what?
I need more stimulus. So then I went into weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing CrossFit, and then I started doing, other things that were the stimulus. I needed more, and then eventually you get to the point where your body starts to fall apart.
Tell me when and why did you blown up? What happened to you?
Oh, I stopped exercising.
Yeah.
I started to drink more.
Yeah.
Started to eat the wrong foods because it's the same story for everybody.
Because they're tasty.
And it doesn't take that much to gain weight.
Uh-uh.
And once you stop the exercise, you stop burning those calories, your metabolism slows down. And before you know it, in 6 months, you've gained 20, 30 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. It's not that hard. But then again, we're at the age now where we can still lose the weight.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're 60-something, no, you're never going to lose weight.
Yeah, I don't buy
quickly.
that. To me, it's all about you got to do what's within you. You can do it. I don't know. I love being a piece of clay. You can do it. You know what to do. You just got to do it.
Yeah, I guess I was talking about the when you were 25.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
ability to lose weight was so much easier, or to put on mass, or that type of thing was so much easier than it is now.
Yeah,
it's way
just
easier.
Different stresses. When you're 25, you're a different life than you are at your 40s or whatever.
Well, speaking of that, what were you doing at 25? Think of that. That was, how old are you now?
I am 49.
We got a car alarm going off outside. It's bad timing, but we'll live through it.
It's all right. No.
You're 49. You're going to be
That's not my
50
car.
pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll be 50 next year.
So what do you think of them apples? 50. That's an old man.
I've always actually, for myself, I've always thought ahead of my year. So I've already kind of come over the idea that I'm 50.
So are you going to do anything special for your 50th birthday, Brett? Are you going to do anything like, go to a faraway place with someone special, or are you going to do what?
I've always downplayed my own birthdays. Sometimes it's like bury my head in the sand, pretend it didn't exist. I tell people don't give me anything. I don't want any different.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Well, birthdays aren't a big deal to you?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Well, let's talk some politics now, because we've got this caravan of 2,000. It was 1,000. Now it's 2,000 people running up the border, and part of me thinks that the world is so messed up right now because you got to look at it almost like an invading army.
Right.
And what do you do to an invading army?
Well, you repel them. We were talking about pussification in general, where we're, as a country, worried that these people are coming towards our country. If this was a battleship, we wouldn't be worried about it. We'd take that out. But here we've got these thousands of people that not sure how to handle that. How do you handle people who are unarmed, but trying to get in and work the system so that they can get in and get into our system here. That's what they want.
Well, you tell me what the answer is. Come on, what's your answer? Don't be afraid. You can tell me.
If you were to try to walk into Russia, and they said don't come forward, what do you think they'd shoot your shit, right?
They'd probably detain you. I don't know if they would shoot
I,
you. I mean, maybe if you tried to go into Iran as an American,
I
they would
mean,
shoot you. But I don't think Russia would do that.
well,
I really don't.
just picking one out of the air. But all my point is, you got people coming in, and we're doing nothing about it. It doesn't make any sense to me that we can't say, this is the line. Do not cross this line.
Well, we can. They're not here yet.
Well, this is the first one, so that there was already a wave. In fact, I've heard of a third one already developing. So the first one's already come, and I'd be curious to see what happened to them. How many of them came in, and how many are still in here? And did they get repelled or not? And is this our plan? I mean, this is part of it. Is like, we're just going to be victims, and we're going to say, oh, I guess they came in, and what are we going to do about it? Or are we going to own our own country? Just like,
well, there's two things. I mean, let's take it from double pronged here. One is yes, we're going to own our own country, and we're going to take it. We're not going to let them come in. But the second thing is that we have to start doing things, I think, that allow people to have safety and security within their own countries. Guatemala and Honduras have turned into some pretty shitty places.
right.
A lot of gang activity, a lot of murders. It's a lot of drug cartel stuff going on there. So, and who's feeding the drug cartels? It's the American noses and veins. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword. But for me, you don't let them in. There's no way you let them in.
Well, look at something basic. Do you believe that there should be law and order in the country?
Well, absolutely.
Of course you do. So if someone is out there and they break into a business, a jewelry store, and they grab a bunch of jewels, and the cops see them, and they look at them, and they just decide to run away, and the cops say, stop, 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 stop. What's supposed to happen there? We're supposed to let them run away?
Is that a rhetorical question?
I'm just saying.
Well, the answer is, you stop them and you put them away.
Right. How? He doesn't stop. What if we just never stopped people? I mean, this started years ago.
Well, then we have no borders and we have no country.
Well, look at like OJ. Remember the joke about the slow white Bronco?
Yeah.
Driving? Why in California did they let a person drive a car around who could hurt other people for miles? How did that make any sense?
Well, I don't know how you're tying the
right.
OJ thing into the.
It's because they didn't do anything about it. They're not stopping people. We're more worried about stopping somebody than we are about doing what's right, which is holding our values and saying, hey, the police are the authority, and when they say something, you respect that and you do that.
Unfortunately, though, the police have had damaged themselves recently with a lot of non-issues. But I agree with you that we have to have law and order.
Sure.
And part of that is to have a police force that is doing the right thing.
And I think that by and large they are.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that.
I sat on a plane next to a guy who was a cop from Chicago. It was Sunday, and he had an app that had said, "Yep, today on Sunday in Chicago there were 20 shootings. Nothing going on, just Sunday." I mean, where are we? What is going on here?
Well, yeah, Chicago's a bad place right now.
I wouldn't want to go there,
especially the South Side. Stay out of that area because.
I mean, if you have a strong group where we have jobs and people work and you're paid for work and you're not paid for not working, it's all solid, right? That's the best case scenario.
Yeah, but since LBJ's Great Society, things have gone south. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Once you become indoctrinated onto the government and you need the government for whatever reason, that's when things, that reliance on something other than yourself, when you rely on other people or other institutions, then you start getting into problems, I think, because then people take care of you. And I don't think that people need to be taken care of. You should take care of yourself.
There's part of this where I always I'm starting to feel like the old man, get off my yard type of guy.
Oh, really?
And, but the world's moving on, so what do we do? I mean, you can kind of be yourself and you kind of see it as, you can talk to people about how to work within the system that we have right now. And, we're not in politics. We're not going to change much. We can work our little spheres. We can be who we're going to be. tell people who you're going to do, what you're going to do, and then go about doing it. It worries me that the direction that things are going, that this is just another step, and like we're saying, pussification of either manhood, or I would even call it America, the way we approach things.
Well, don't you think that this possibly could be by design? That this was a grand plan?
It does seem
was
like
too
it.
strong, so you had to weaken it. The only way to weaken it is through the inside.
Sure.
Because you couldn't weaken it out in the external because it was too strong.
No.
And so that's kind of what I'm believing right now, is that
I agree with that.
Weakening, and it's on purpose, by people or institutions from external and internal,
Mhm.
because the American way was really the golden hill on
Right.
of the earth.
Yeah.
And they're trying to weaken it, and we're starting to see some bad shit happening out there of other countries that are really going rogue and taking liberties. Look at Saudi Arabia. They just whacked that guy in their own
that
embassy,
journalist.
and now they admit it. I mean,
Wow.
you just can't do that. And my point is that under Ronald Reagan, we're going back a few years,
Sure.
but we had a moral compass in this country. There was a compass that we could stand on and stand tall with human rights and all that stuff, because we stood and we believed in that. But today, we've got a president that won't take back $100 billion worth of military agreements because, you know what, there's jobs. And that just lessens our ability as a country to have the moral high ground. We don't have that anymore. We're starting to lose it every day because of the politics and the politicians and the weird shit that we allow to happen in this country.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder if some of these things, I mean, greed has always been there. People have always made profit on top of other people. It's always been there. What has really changed in the world? The old adage, there's nothing new under the sun, right? It's always there, but it just feels like, the wealthier are getting wealthy. You need to keep pushing where there's opportunity. That's what it comes down. You want to get everybody the same opportunities to get somewhere.
Well, I'm giving you a great opportunity right now.
Awesome.
You're going to be able to speak to about 130 people, maybe less, maybe more, depending. And so, tell me, what it is about America that you would like to have changed. Well, I mean, what is it? I mean, what's going on today that you as a child, or, when you were younger, that you felt proud of, that you don't see today?
Well, maybe it's just more knowledge in the fact, but what bothers me is the out-and-out deception, where you see something that's just truly not true, and either media or person has no problem saying it as such, and the truth can't kind of get out. Where you can take one scenario which is really, I would say it's kind of known, but you can twist it in such a way that it's not even true. It's like, why not stand on why not talk about what's important to you and what you want to do for the country, as opposed to picking on the other guy and say, well, this person's racist, or this person will not, why not talk about what we can do better? I don't see any better. I don't see people focusing on what's better.
You're talking about the politicians and things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about the politicians that we see in the world today, at least in this country.
But is it really any different than in the old days when they were maybe not as obvious?
I think it is different, and I think it's different because the folks back in the old days, or even up to Bill Clinton's era, they put together what they thought was best for the country, and they weren't so polar. We've got far right, far left, and you're in one or the other, and you're not coming out of that cave, and everybody who's not in that cave is wrong. Well, I don't necessarily believe that. I'm more of a moderate, if you call it that.
It was like the bomber, or this guy who sent package. They caught him today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're still blaming Trump for this guy.
Well, who's blaming him? The left.
Well, I don't know.
The left people are blaming.
Sure.
Him. The right's not
They're
blaming
using
him.
it for political game.
Yeah. What happens is the left is going to blame him. The right is going to support him, And what do you have? You have more dissent and more discourse that's not productive for making anything better for any you or I.
Yeah, I don't.
You know,
No, you're not gonna get any supporters of him, man.
what's that?
No one's gonna support that guy.
Trump?
Not in the least.
Oh, there's so many people out there. They die for this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy the support that they have for him. Now, are you a Donald Trump guy?
I am. I always consider myself a fiscally conservative, social liberal guy.
So you would probably fit, if you really thought about it, into the libertarian area.
I'm not sure there. Well, that's foul. That the idea that there's these other areas doesn't exist. You either vote for one person or another person. That's all
Well,
you got.
not really, because I voted for the libertarian in several elections.
Well, all that means is your vote didn't count because you knew that wasn't gonna move anybody for it. You made it.
Well, you have to vote your conscience, Brett. I mean, you have to vote.
but
I couldn't vote for Obama or, let's say, Mitt Romney, who I thought neither one of them was.
But your vote didn't count. It
Well,
didn't.
my vote counted. It just didn't go to somebody who won or lost.
Right. That's all I'm saying. Is it would make more sense if we had more parties.
Well,
If we had like 3 parties, then there'd actually have to be some not collusion, but
gonna
cooperation,
say.
collusion. Like Russia. No, some cooperation between all of us.
Well, you would also have a checks and balances. Right now, you just have checks. There's no balance.
Sure.
There's no independent party that would allow for.
You got giant swings. I mean, the next Democrat that comes in, they're going to try to undo everything that Trump just did, who just did everything that Obama just did. So, there's going to be these wild swings, I think, when you get whoever is next in office.
Well, that's true. Now, is there anybody out there in the horizon that you think you could support?
I'm more about, it's less about the person as much as it is the ideal to me. Like,
what type of
like a party type of thing, where who is going to allow us to, well, let's talk about something impossible, balance the budget. Why do we continue to run up a deficit? Why would we do that?
Because it benefits the rich and makes the poor
It's
suffer.
because it's kicking the can down the road.
Exactly.
And the people who are in it don't want to deal with it, and it's easier to not deal with it. So they can. And eventually that debt is that takes away from what we can do. Roads, military, raises, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's money that's sitting out there that we can't deal with. So because we're overspending, that's something that you don't see anybody talking about that right now.
No, you don't.
Right.
But you should.
Right.
You had, what was Rand Paul's dad's name?
Mm.
He was the last big politician to really hit that home.
Budget hawk.
And, it's not something that anybody really presses anymore.
No.
In fact, the deficit is increasing even under President Trump over Obama, which I never thought would happen.
I agree.
I mean, it was like, I thought Obama was a spend, but
Well.
he's making, he's looking conservative compared to this Trump guy, especially with the tax cuts, if we'll call them that.
Yeah. Well, they
so-
were tax cuts. I mean, people did get money back in their pockets. And maybe it'll come out at the end where there's now more tax revenue because the economy's kicking ass.
Well, that remains to be seen, but if you look at who got what, there's more potential money in their pockets in the next year. It's the
My
money that
401k's
you're going to
rocking.
get, the money you're going to get, and the money I'm going to get is going to be a lot less than the money some of these really rich guys are getting. So, what do you say about that?
401ks are up, jobs are up, unemployment's as low as it's been in 50 years. Getting ahead on our economy, you probably are too. This is where we want to be. We want to be where we're growing and looking for people as opposed to, worried about cutting back and that. I mean, inflation's going to be up. That's positive. That means it means that there's a giant money supply out there. There are people who have money on it, and they want to be able to buy something with it, and there's not as many goods out there, right? So,
Well, true.
positive.
So let me ask you this. What are you doing now for a profession? You're still in the water area?
So I'm in a construction services. I'm a manager of a group that works industrial.
Okay, so you were with the water.
I was, so I.
You're not doing that anymore?
No, about a year of that now. I've been managing. It's a service group, hydroblasting, vac trucks, that type of thing. It's within a oil refinery environment.
Okay.
I've been in the industrial environment for about 25 years.
How do you like that?
New set of challenges. I've got 25 guys that got to make sure are there, doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know, they've got their needs. We got to balance that out with what the client expects.
Yeah.
It's just a bigger version of yourself, right?
Well,
More people.
yeah,
right.
I never was successful at managing people because it just you know, it just was too difficult to work for, I guess. And I don't know how people really are good at managing people because I like to push people hard as I like to go. But as I became older, I realized most people don't like to go that hard.
I think this is going to go back to our pussification thing. You don't see most people really willing to step up the idea that they want to kick ass.
Well,
you got to kind of work within. Okay.
Well, I like to kick ass.
I know.
You know, and I like to push it hard.
And people who work or are like you would work with you, right? But your average regular guy won't want to step up to your level.
Well, they want to put in their 40 hours.
Yeah.
And 40 hours to me is unsuccess. You're not successful in anything if you put 40 hours in a week.
Well, some people don't want
You
success.
can't be successful.
I know. Here's the thing: will blow your mind. Some people don't want success.
Well, I agree with that.
Right.
But I think more people, if they put in more effort, would get more out of life.
Well, so would you and I.
You know, but
Right.
that's the thing. So put in everything you've got every day, and you'll reap the rewards. You will. But people that work for me, they wanted to work their 40 hours
It's
and
just,
call it a
you
week.
gotta work with what you got and not who you want, unless you go find out all those people. But
When was the
Yeah.
last time that you worked 40 hours in a week? Think about it, because it's got to be decades. I mean, besides your vacation.
I was gonna say vacation would be the only time that I worked less than 40.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be always. I mean,
40 hours to me,
Yeah.
just it's almost like a coast. Like 40 hours. You've done that by, Wednesday.
well, my normal schedule right now is 410s, and then that's my guys work 410s, and then I usually work a little on Friday too, and then take something here and there on a weekend. So
Yeah. Now, for me, I work almost every day of the week. Seriously. And probably 10 plus hours each day.
yeah, you've just made it part of your life.
I love working.
Right.
It's a value system. I love working and working hard, and so I would consider this work, but it's not hard work. It's part of what I do, and it's fun, but nothing I do is not fun.
So this has always been part of my theory, is that happiness comes from within and not external. So those people that are searching for that job that gives them happiness, you're not going to find it because you don't have it.
Yeah.
And you can keep wandering around looking for someone to give it to you, or you can just have it yourself and decide, I'm going to enjoy what I do. I want to make something
I think
better.
that goes beyond just like work. I think it goes into your personal life. Nobody can make you happy.
Right.
I've said that for a long time. I can't make somebody happy. Somebody can't make me happy. A job.
But that's
A
what's being
sport.
told to us, right?
Well,
Do what makes you happy,
But
right?
that's true, but I think I agree with you 100%. It's all inside.
People are they're setting you up to fail and say, well, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do if you didn't get paid for it? I don't know. Sit on the couch and sleep. I mean, watch TV. That sounds like fun, but no one's going to pay me for that. No, I don't want to do that. I want to. If you go to work, you work, and then why not enjoy it while you're at it?
True. I absolutely agree with that. And I've seen a lot of people, I'd say about 85-90% of the people don't like what they're doing.
No,
And
but that's okay.
when they don't like what they're doing, well, I don't think it's okay.
That's part of work. You
But
don't always get to like what you want to do.
You don't always get to like it, but
Right.
you should at least enjoy
Sure.
the time that you're putting in, because if you take, let's say if you just work 40 hours,
Right.
all right, in a 24-hour day, besides the weekends, 5 days a week, you put in 8 hours. That's a third of your day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've taught and I've spoken about this to people is you got to have passion. Passion in everything. Whether it's work, so what? Be the best you can be at work. Do what you have to do to be fun.
Yeah.
When I hear people complain about work or something, I say, go get another fucking job. Do something that allows you to have joy in your
Actually, I
life.
tell people quit complaining. Like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it's easy for people like us, I guess, to say that because, we both are college educated and we have
I don't know.
the tools to find something.
I remember watching some guys roll out of a van and roof my house, and they were having a blast. Like 6 guys piled out of a van. They cranked the tunes up. They got up on a really high roof, and it was a cold-ass day. They enjoyed the hell out of their day. I mean, I could hear them laughing and throwing stuff around, and then I got back, and before I knew it, they were gone. Who's to say you can't enjoy your day?
Nobody.
Enjoy
That's
the
what I'm advocating.
Right,
Is
enjoy the people
it.
you're with.
Enjoy it.
You know?
Everything you do. Enjoy the people that you're with. If you're not with people that you enjoy, don't be around them.
Yeah,
You know?
it's hard to get around those
Well,
sometimes.
most of the time it's easy to get around, unless you have to show up and they're at
Sure.
work with you and stuff.
Yep.
But you make choices every day, and the choices you make are a reflection of who you are and what you want out of your life. I mean, like what you said with your divorce, you made a choice.
Yeah.
And that choice had ripple effect throughout other people's lives, but eventually everybody gets back to the normal, and everything's good.
What else are you gonna do? Right? You gotta keep going on, whether it's divorce or whether it's being laid off or fired on a job. You gotta just kind of keep plugging along.
So have you ever been fired?
I've been fired.
Tell me about it, because that's being fired is something that I've been fired several times.
Yeah.
And, I'm interested to see how other people got fired.
So, twice really. One of them I kind of knew was coming more. It was a sales environment, and the numbers weren't rolling up. And the irony in that particular scenario was, I was asked to go take care of some business in North New Jersey.
North New Jersey.
In New Jersey, yep.
Okay.
And so I was gone so Monday I would fly, Thursday I'd come back, and then Friday I would take care of Minnesota. And then, so I did that for 6 months. Well, Minnesota suffered, and at the end of the year they said, well, you didn't grow Minnesota territory. Like, I wasn't in Minnesota. Mostly, so that one was rolling up. I could see that was coming. So I actually had something else lined up, but technically I did get fired on that one. And it stings. You want to be a success. You want to win. So another one I just didn't even see coming.
Blindsided. Huh?
It was on April Fool's Day, and I was at a sales meeting. So they flew me into Albuquerque. And the night before, I'm with the rest of the team, having a good time. We're about to sit down, and the guy said, we're not going to have you here. I go, it's April Fool's Day. Is this a joke? Because it's not funny. It's not a joke as a foreigner. And his dialect was kind of weird, but I'm like, all right. So.
Well, hopefully you got a severance and everything was good.
They tried to give me 2 weeks. And
2 weeks?
I said, no, that's not enough.
Right. Well, I've been fired a couple times too, and one of them is that I knew about 4 months before, because the CFO told a group of people we're going to get rid of Griffin.
Okay.
Wow.
Jesus.
You give me 4 months, I'll create another business.
Oh, sure.
And so I didn't even work on their stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I said, okay, writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
And I recreated the business that I stopped before I went to work for this company. And it's the last company I ever worked for.
Mm.
And I realized something there is that you have to be in charge of your own destiny.
It's a brutal world out there.
You can't let somebody else, do it. But I still can't believe that the CFO is out, because he liked to drink.
Yeah.
And they were out drinking. And 4 months before, You know, and at one point, I'm like 3 months into this going, they still haven't fired me?
I know.
Maybe this was wrong information. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right. That's a long time.
And eventually they got to it, and guy flew in from Pennsylvania or wherever it was, and you know, took my computers and all that good
Well,
stuff.
then you're ready. I mean, I've been laid off several times too, and one of them I didn't see coming at all. The company just decided they were going to sell, and they didn't need people that were part of the growth. So if you're growth oriented, we don't need you because we're not gonna grow anything. We're selling.
Well,
Didn't even see it.
yeah, getting fired or getting
No.
laid off. I've never been laid off, I don't think, but getting fired, it was.
It's tough.
Well, I never. No,
No.
for me it was easy, because I knew it was coming on both sides. You know,
I guess the part is all
I get twice.
sudden
I've been-
enough, and then what ends up happening, at least if it's quicker, you can potentially have to recoil from that. So you may take a job that's really not what you're looking for, and you kind of know it, but you know you can't bird in hand, so to speak. Right? You got to take what's there. I mean, you've got obligations, so you take that job, and then my opinion is most people probably turn that job over within a couple of years. You know, where they're finding something else that fits them a little better. You know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You got to find that fit, because without the fit, it's just a torture to get up in the morning and do it.
Is
you
this
know?
because you and I are kind of a little more driven, probably tell people a little more what it ought to be, and then people don't always like what they want to hear that?
That could be.
Yeah.
You know, what I've also learned though, Brett, is that we tend to tell people what it ought to be in our minds, not necessarily in theirs.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
I've thought about this a lot too, where I think it's sometimes people, you're exposing weakness, and sometimes they can't handle it, and they have the ability to do something about you or me, and they don't want to deal with the weakness part of it, even if it's right.
That could be.
You know.
That could be. One of the things that I've thought about is that the reason that I'm self-employed, and I have been since 20 years now,
Mm-hmm.
is that I came to the conclusion when I worked at an environmental consulting firm that people just don't want to work hard, and I don't. When you're in an environmental consulting firm that I was in, you bill hours, you
Mhm.
bill your time, and you have, just like a lawyer would, and billing time and effort is revenue,
Mm-hmm.
and so the more you bill, the more revenue you make. And some people just wanted to put in the minimum. Oh, I got this goal, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, hell no. Let's make some money for the company because that'll benefit me. So I'd be, billing. I was in a 700-person firm. I was the second highest person
Wow.
in billing hours for like 3
Wow.
years in a row.
Yeah.
And that's like 2,300 hours of billing time. That's not work. That's billing, charge
Well,
time.
what that
So you
means
put
though
in
is,
like 2,800 hours and you don't get paid more for it. Yeah, you will, and it comes your annual review and they see the revenue you produce. But you got to take a risk.
you hope,
And that you get rewarded for that.
so it puts you in the less than 1%er club.
I don't know what the hell that means. What does that mean?
I'm just saying, 700 people. You're in. Way
Oh,
into
I
that.
see what you're
right,
saying.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, it was
Yeah.
the guy who beat me. The guy was a dog. I mean, he just worked.
Yeah.
It's almost like he didn't have anything else. But he was, young like me and had kids, and he spent a lot of time at the office, and he eventually went and started his own company up just like I did. So
Sure.
that might tell you something. And he's successful right now, and he's done well.
It's hard to argue with putting hours and time at things and taking a risk. I mean, you got a business, you can take a risk at it, right? And,
Well, success doesn't come; it's earned.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you win a lottery or
Sure.
you come from a family that has money, you got to go out and bust your your balls out there and work hard, because it just doesn't come. You got to go get it. And part of me is I work with a lot of people at the airline, and their hourly rate.
Mm-hmm.
They work on an hourly basis. Your value is that hour that you put in, and
No.
that hour has a certain value to it, and that's what your value is. And for me, it's always been, this. That's earned me the money. It's creating things and doing things and pushing the envelope. It's not an hour that I work, and this is an hour you pay me. And
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, the value that you have as a person is worth more than that $20 or whatever an hour. Think of that. You know,
Sure.
there's
I mean, these always.
more to it than that
I think
in life.
I think a lot of these policies start because you can't get people to just do what they're supposed to do until you make a line. Say, all right, you got to be here at 7. You got to be here at 8. Or whatever
Well,
it is.
like with the airline, you have to have
Yeah.
people there at a certain time
Sure.
because they have planes to service and they have to get planes in and out of the airport. But I see that scheduling is not a problem. Part of me laughs at myself because at that job, there's people that make more than me, the same as me, and less than me. But your value is on your seniority. It's not on the value that you
Right.
bring. It's not on the effort that you put in or the success rate that you have. It's based on an hour and how many years you've been there. There could be people there, and how do I know that are topped out, they call it, and they don't do shit.
No.
And then there's a young kid that comes in, and he's like a little whippersnapper, and he's
Yeah.
doing everything possible and more. And he
Right.
gets paid half.
You can watch that kid get beat down. I've watched that too, where they come in, do a lot of work, and then they start to realize, wow, I'm putting all this time in, and all these other guys are doing this work, and before you know it, they're starting to become a little more slower to get off the job and whatnot.
So let's go down a
Yeah.
memory lane.
Yeah.
I remember we went to Kid Rock
It's awesome.
at the Myth.
Yeah.
And it was before he really, he had his big period, then he
Mhm.
died down, and then he got back up with, that album, what was it, like
Yeah.
Summertime, whatever. But we went to see him at his pre-concert where he was trying to work everything out.
Yeah.
And it was at the Myth in Maplewood.
Yeah.
And that show was probably the best concert
I agree.
I've ever seen.
Me too.
He blew the doors down.
Fabulous.
And it was what, 3.5, 4 hours?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was good environment.
Yeah, and I was your sober cab that night. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
But you were just you weren't
No.
sober, and you were blabbing the whole time on the ride home.
No.
And that concert was fantastic. And I
Yeah.
remember how we started out in the back, and we were literally 4 rows from
Yeah.
from the stage. I mean that was an unbelievable concert.
Yeah. We talked about learning yourself a little bit. Do you remember? I mix up my concerts, maybe. Yeah, I think I am. Maybe it wasn't with you. Anyways, at the Myth, same type of thing. Some guy pushed me once. I didn't even know what I was doing. I pushed him so hard he flew 5 feet.
That was at the Kid Rock. You're not mixing.
All right,
things
that's what I
up.
thought it was.
Because you got a little out of hand that
Yeah.
night.
No, I was just talking to this girl, and he kept pushing me, and didn't even
Yeah, I
think about
remember
it.
that, man.
And then what was impressive?
See, now I was there for you,
Yeah.
but you weren't there
No.
for me.
By the way, the security guards that were there, and they came up right away, and they go, "So we were watching this guy. You're cool." They took the guy out of here.
Well, you got lucky.
No, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
it could have been the other way around. They could have said, "Hey, you pushed him," but not good times. I mean, I wish we had one of those. Those are. You got to take those. I mean, do you ever look at this where you got to take advantage of those when they come up? Like when someone says, "Hey, do you want to go boating this weekend?" Or, "Hey, do you want to do whatever?" Do you just start to say yes more now?
I do. And the reason I do is that I'm seeing this gal, Olga, and she
Mhm.
loves doing stuff.
Yeah.
So, I found myself at some jazz club last weekend. Never even heard of this place. And it was some, like, superstar woman who we're going to have on the show, by the way.
Okay.
That is like a legend in jazz. And she said yes to coming on to the
Mhm.
Take Your Best Shot podcast.
All right.
And she's going to come on, and she's from Detroit, and that's where I was born.
Okay.
And so we had something in common right there because she went to Wayne State University in
Mhm.
Detroit, and I was born in Wayne State University. So, small world.
Yeah.
But
it is.
yeah, I mean, I find myself in these situations now that we're just doing stuff, and it's fun. It's crazy.
Yeah. Friend comes up, "Hey, I'm playing pool. Over here, want to come?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm coming." Just do it.
So what's changed? How come you didn't do that before?
think it's just I'd look at the number of times that you think, oh well, this will be here tomorrow. This will come because like even right now, I tell my kids there's always another party when they're college kids, and I'm like, don't worry about that. Focus on school. But
Yeah, well, did you focus on school?
I did plenty. I mean,
I was more of the party kid. I would, school, party. Party's usually one.
I put it like some hours, Monday to Thursday or Sunday to Thursdays were Sunday Wednesday, let's say, was more school, and then made sure I hit my weekends.
But you went to the University of Minnesota
Yeah.
and you went and got an engineering degree.
Right.
That was a little bit stiffer than what I did. I got
Yeah.
an accounting, so it's a little bit.
Yeah,
different.
you're in control of it. No, engineer degrees is competitive and it's hard.
You went through the IT program there,
Yeah,
and that was pretty strict and hard for you, I bet.
it's
So,
hard to know when.
What
when
kind of engineering degree did you
I have
get?
mechanical engineering.
Mechanical?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the hardest engineering degree there? Is it chemical?
Most people think chemical or electrical.
Okay.
Typically hardest.
I would think chemical would be, but
Chemicals, they're both abstract, so you can't kind of see it. I guess some people are good at just being able to think through what's the process and then just be able to follow along with it. I always felt more comfortable being able to kind of see it and know what forces were behind it and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I ended up spending more of my career in chemicals anyways, so it didn't matter.
yeah.
You just figure it out. It's just whatever it is. What I got.
So what are you doing now for enjoyment? What's Brett's life for enjoyment?
I'm enjoying kind of little spots where fixing up the house, doing projects, build a basement bar.
When I met you, you were building a basement bar.
I don't know. I like doing this stuff. It's just sort of
that's
fun.
your engineering background.
It's just fun.
All engineers, they all like to build.
I don't like a box. My dad was a doer. He was always doing a project too. So I grew up in that. We're roofing and plumbing and electrical. I mean, I've always been doing that. So you just sort of keep poking at it. But I enjoy the time that we have right now. I like going out with people and hitting dinner here and there and all that, and do a little exercise.
Do anything crazy?
Nothing I can talk about.
Not that you're willing to talk about it.
No, maybe another episode.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I got you on here because I wanted to just talk to you about, part of like what life is like after divorce.
Yeah.
And, I know you and I know your ex-wife.
Yep.
Nice gal.
Yep.
But I wanted to talk to you about like what it's like to go through that tunnel, because a lot of people go through it.
Yeah.
And people experience different things, but I don't know. Are you willing to talk about?
Oh, sure.
Some of that, like your feelings about what happened, or just.
So I'd just say for myself, which I consider common now in retrospect, is the anxiety before of this being something unique and difficult, and like what other people think and say and all that, and then the process itself is pretty rough, where you're sorting out who's got what and how that new arrangement's going to work. But then once you kind of get that in and sort it out, I don't really know anybody that kind of isn't better off. They typically learn things about themselves at that point, because you have the ability to kind of be yourself. You don't have someone potentially telling you what you should be. I mean, unless you're the person who's telling the person what they ought to be.
Well, you're a guy, so you probably weren't telling.
No, I wasn't telling. And I learned kind of where I want my boundaries to be, and I just went to myself. To me, it's a normal place for me to be. Is found out I'm more assertive on my relationships and able to just say, hey, this is where I want to spend our time and what I want to do, and I don't want to do this and I want to do that, and that type of stuff. So.
Well, I think that many women today that are single or gone through the divorce process also are looking for someone that will, say and do things and have an input versus just being this guy that just wants to sit his ass on the couch and drink beer.
I'd agree.
They're looking for somebody that's energetic and looking for positive, force,
Right.
and they're looking for someone who is really like ready to go at life.
Totally agree. seemed like I heard that all the time. People, they just want to live, and
But they
heard,
want to live happily. They don't want to
Right.
be like in charge all the time, saying, "Hey, let's go here, let's do this, let's
Right.
do this, let's do this."
you know,
And I think that you probably said it, before we had our, before we turned on
Yeah.
the film and
Yeah.
stuff, is that they're looking for something else. And the bottom, you told me you've heard stories about
Yeah.
how the bottom,
Yeah.
of what guys are like today, is pretty bad.
yeah, it feels like maybe it's just a reflection of society in general, where kids are heavier than you and I ever remembered them being. I mean, that maybe that's just expanded as adults now too. Where there's a wider range. But boy, if for adults to kind of be in a smaller, more desirable area is kind of what we used to consider more normal.
But
It's abnormal now. It makes you desirable, to be fit, be motivated, be fun, enjoy life. That puts you in a kind of a small category.
So what happened with me, I don't know if this happened to you, is that I kind of figured out who I was, and I knew that this is what I wanted in life, and I went that direction.
Yeah.
And what happens is that when you're focused and you have an agenda of, this is how I'm going to live my life, this is who
Yeah.
I want to be, this is the direction I'm going to go, I'm going to travel the world, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you tend to be like a metal, and people around you are like magnets, because people want part of that.
Sure.
They want to be close to something that
It's
generates that
happening.
positive energy.
I agree.
And I see a lot of people out there, they're just negative, and they just,
Mhm.
their life has beat them down, or something. Or they've had a string of good luck,
Yep.
and they think they're the best thing on earth. So you got all this stuff out there. And if you people, I think the best thing that you can be is real. Because when you can be real to yourself, and when you're not
Start
real
with
to
that.
yourself,
Start with being real for yourself. Do something that is better off for you and everybody else around you, and then things will fall your way, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, how won't it work?
well,
you know.
even if it doesn't go your way, it's still going to go pretty good, because
Mhm.
you're living the life that you should be living.
Yeah. I
And-
mean, let's just be real. Nothing is all positive, right? There's negative too. There's you don't have the same relationships that you potentially had either with your kids or people who you thought were friends or whatnot. There's things are negative too. But then even that made me realize some of the relationships I had really weren't relationships.